Cops shoot a man over 30 times and lied about him having a knife. We have the update. Here's the body cam.
Drop the knife! Drop the knife! Drop the knife! Do not go back in the house! Do not go back in the house! Please! Show me your hands!
Drop the knife! Drop it now!
Drop it! Drop it!
Get there!
Put up the picture full mass. They shot him a total of 34 times. The Kansas police have been caught lying after body cam footage shows the officers shot a man 34 times, holding only a wrench. For more than 2 years, the Kansas prosecutors claimed that Topeka police shot and killed a black man named Taylor Lowery because he came charging at them with a knife, making them fear for their lives. But that was proven to be a lie after body cam footage of the shooting was released to the family last week. The footage shows Lowery was only holding a wrench and was actually backing away from officers when they opened fire, shooting him 34 times on October 13th, 2022, leaving him with 41 bullet wounds because some of the bullets left multiple injuries, the ricochet effect. It was only after the 33-year-old man lay dying in front of a gas station that they realized he was holding a wrench, not a knife, which was lying only inches away from the cops as they opened fire. Nevertheless, a Topeka police officer lied to Lowery's sister when she showed up at the scene, distraught and crying over the shooting death of her brother. Quote, "He tried to attack us with that knife," end quote, is what the cops said. Topeka police and city attorneys maintained that false narrative for more than 2 years, along with the Kansas Bureau of Investigation and the Shawnee County District Attorney's Office refusing to release the body cam under the guise, quote, "It is not in the public's interest to view the video." Now, let me say this. If you believe the cops made a good faith mistake, even though easily at least one officer should have had enough investigative prowess to know the difference between a wrench and a knife, you can't argue that the cover-up is in good faith as well. The cover-up is indicative of a guilty conscience. The cover-up is, in fact, a criminal conspiracy at face value. The cover-up itself shows how not only multiple cops, but multiple departments were willing to engage in criminal activity in order to not tell the truth. It wasn't until a federal magistrate judge ordered the release of the footage in December as part of what a wrongful death lawsuit filed in August that the family was able to release the videos to the media exposing the lies that the government had dished out for more than 2 years. If it would have been left up to the normative investigative process, none of us may have ever seen this video. But because the family took the extrajudicial step, filed a wrongful death lawsuit, bringing in another jurisdiction in a civil process, you now have a mandate. You have an order to release. And because of that order to release, it exposes a crime inside of a crime inside of a crime by multiple jurisdictions who were willing to go along with it. Put them up, full mass. That false narrative was maintained by the Shawnee County District Attorney, Michael F. Kege, who cleared the cops of wrongdoing and released a 15-page report with redactions explaining his decision, claiming Lowery took a fighting stance against the cops. Keep his picture up. This is a civil servant approved by the local bar, the state bar, in order to engage in the practice of law. Not only should this action be considered criminal, we should have already heard from the bar about his qualifications to remain an attorney. We're waiting on that report. We're going to stay on top of it. Topeka County, the Topeka City Attorney, Amanda Stanley, also went along with the lie, refusing to release the videos to local media because she claimed it would, quote, not be in the public's interest, according to the Topeka Capital Journal. Now, just a reminder, the video is government property. That government property is paid for by the taxpayer. The taxpayer has a right to review under open records, a right to review the video. You don't get more you don't get a more compelling reason to need public disclosure than somebody being dead by way of a public servant. That's open and shut. There's more. And now that the lies have been exposed, attorneys for the police officers have filed a motion against one of the attorneys representing the Lowery family, a Black woman named Lorana Sanders, for releasing the body cam videos to the family despite the judge's order. Quote, deadly force is reasonable only if the officer had probable cause to believe that the suspect posed a significant threat of death or serious physical injury to the officer or others, the claim states. Now, if just one cop lied, you have a cop problem. Two cops lied, maybe you have a cultural issue at the police department. Multiple cops and multiple prosecutors over multiple jurisdictions for multiple years lied. What do you have? We don't have a word for it. Corruption definitely falls short of describing what has happened. Not one individual had enough integrity, enough fortitude to be a whistleblower. A man is dead. He should be alive. Not one individual had enough morality to speak up, release by way of leaking information to the media so that at least justice could be served. Not one of you. But you all are elected and appointed as administrators of justice. You should be ashamed of yourself. Every single one of you should have been fired and charged in the cover-up, if nothing else. Yes, thoughts here.
Yeah, even if someone had a gun in their hand, not even a wrench, do you need to shoot them 34 times? Aren't cops should be taught to shoot to disarm or shoot to detain. You can't detain or disarm someone in less than 34 shots. Maybe they need to spend more time at the shooting range. I don't know, but that feels quite excessive. And this excuse that the footage was not in the public's interest, I want to say, I think I was talking about this recently at another show. Of course, it's in the public's interest. The cops work for us, for our communities. Whatever they're up to, whatever they're doing is in the public interest. It's not for them to decide what we would be interested in. Let us see the tape and we can decide for ourselves how interested we are in it. The lying is appalling, but I don't know why cops wouldn't lie in situations like this. Their options are to take accountability for their actions, which could result in murder or manslaughter charges, or at least dismissal from their jobs. Or they could just lie about what actually happened with the knowledge that they will likely never have to be held accountable for the lie, with the knowledge that the people who are supposed to hold cops like this accountable are the same people who will likely protect them from those consequences. Nothing is going to change until there are stronger consequences for these types of actions, not just for the shooting, but as you said, for the lying, for the deceiving the public, for covering up what actually happened and keeping it from the public. And when we say things like it's not one bad apple, this is a systemic issue, this is exactly what we're talking about. Why were these cops protected by the district attorney for so long? We
Mhm.
want more transparency. We want strong consequences for bad policing. And the argument there is that cops need to feel protected in order to engage in policing against dangerous persons. But I kind of don't care about that anymore. At this point, I feel like that just needs to be considered part of the risk of doing that particular job. No one is making you become a cop. If you choose to become a cop, that is the risk that you're taking on, because incidents like this are happening way too often. Even the handful of stories that make it onto shows like this one, it's too much. It's too often. People are dying because cops are too trigger happy, and they always justify it by saying that the cops' lives were in danger. But how often do we later find out that that was not the case at all? Qualified immunity should not be as qualified as it is.
Well said. And you can't help but to imagine that much of their trigger happy ways is connected to the system of prosecutors willing to protect them
Of
when
course.
they kill someone unnecessarily. We will stay on top of this story.